So let's continue our classes. So this was the intro, where we looked at how you write introduction. Yeah, if you see number of, you say how many and all that stuff. We have covered these, and these are the small intros I have shown how to write. And then there was an overview lesson where we covered about, we will talk about how you write, how you select data, you use while structure, you can use except, you can use only, reverse, and many more. And these were the examples we have looked at. This one was actually bigger than I thought. And then, oh, this one took a lot of time. Today we talk about paragraphs, which are in fact easier than overviews. So we have these four fundamental things of one sentence structure, and you must have at least all of them in one independent sentence. So we have data, year, category, and highlight. So how do you write? For example, if I follow this structure, let me write in 2011, the expenditures by women, let's say, exceeded that of men by, let's say, 35%. So in this sentence, we have everything I've mentioned above this. So we choose blue, right? So as we can see, so what did I write in 2012? So this is the year. The expenditures by women is category. Exceeded that of men is comparison. By 35% is data. And let me write another sentence, right? Let's say Japan allocated most of its funds, state funds, to education at 65%. So what's happening here? Here I have Japan, which is the category. So I'm going to write it here. Most of its state funds, this is a highlight. You must have this. Every sentence of yours must have something interesting, something that is worth writing, not just Japan invested 65% into education. That makes no sense. So this is the highlight part. Then we don't have year. Not always do we have years, and this one is data. Yeah, there you go. That's how it's written, right? Let me write another sentence. Now we'll start from data, right? 55% of adults stated that they don't they use social media daily. So here I have 55%, which is the data. Adults is the category. But there is something I missed, which is highlight comparisons. There is no highlight. They are not the highest, lowest, or something interesting. So I can compare, which is by, let's say, 25% higher than the user time by elders. say 25, right? So that has to make it 30. There you go. So now I'm higher. Now that part is comparison. So this one higher is compare. So I either need to compare or select data, which is it's written in the instruction of it. So I can open any Cambridge book to show you why I'm so strict when it comes to comparisons and highlights. So let's look at Cambridge 17 or any Cambridge. Well, yeah, as you can see, we have summarize information by selecting and reporting main features, not every feature, main features, and make comparisons where relevant. So you must follow this structure if you want to secure higher score. Now let me show you this in the example. There are more lessons. This is not the only lesson for paragraphs. There is coherence lesson, how you connect your ideas. Paragraphing is another problem, but this is the most important one by far. So let's look at any graph. Right? Let's look at examples first. So this is the example I have written on the May 24th. And let's have a look. So I have an overview, right? Not many chains record regions, except I have exception structure. Then I mentioned what happened to that exception and a bit more. Then I used while structure, which is textbook overview. Then I have here category, which is the United States, is the category here. All these lines are categories. Major consumer is highlight. Staggering is another highlight. And then I have comparison as well. So in one sentence, I have both highlight, category, comparison, and data. Data, you must give data. I have mentioned 4 million barrels. I said 2 and 4 million barrels. Then I have overall structure, which is also comparison. So let's look at the second sentence. You see, every sentence has something in it. This rate, so this sentence is connected to the previous one. This rate of consumption remained unchanged until this year was also starting point of a sharp decline. Trend forecasted to continue until plummeting to just over a day. So this is kind of common thing. This is like extra idea that I'm adding here. But most importantly, it's comparison. Then I said additionally, so every sentence must be connected to another sentence. Some gradual fall was also seen in Western Japan, and this projected to drop. Okay, this was kind of, I don't have actual highlight here, but it's also important sentence. Then we have here the trend in China and Middle East category. By contrast, comparison rose and set to continue is, this is an introductory sentence, so it doesn't have highlights on the sentence chunks. Then I have while structure, which means I have comma somewhere here. While those used almost same amounts is highlight. It's not highlight, it's comparison. It's a similarity of oil in 2009 at under 2 million barrels. The numbers grew sharply, outpacing. This is what happened. This is the highlight part, outpacing that of Western Europe and Japan, which were reduced to their, which were reducing their oil usage of oil. So as you can see, every sentence has these fundamentals, right? So we have year in every sentence, category is a must, comparison, highlight is also another thing, right? You either highlight or compare. If you don't find highlight, if your line is not the highest, not the lowest, and nothing is changing, then you need to compare it to something else to make it, let's say, worth reading. And then we have data. Data is the most important. Data can be percentage, data can be money, anything. So let's write one or two sentences and we'll call it a day. Okay, let's look at this one. This is much easier graph, I guess. Okay, what's happened? This is a line graph. So let's mention B, right? Okay, what's happening in B? The number of films produced, 5 countries. Okay. Okay, let's start from category, right? So country B, uh, experienced the most notable growth in numbers between 2008, 2008 and 2009, uh, rising from 50 what? Uh, the number of films in 5 countries in 3 years. Okay, from 50 films to 70, from 50 to 70, right? To 70. And that's it. So I have category, experience the most notable growth is highlight. Notable growth in number. I don't need in number. Between 2008 and 2009, period, rise, and this is data. And that's how you write. Okay, let's write for this one, right? So let me write one sentence for the blue. And that one sentence will be enough for the whole report in terms of the monthly salary. Okay. So Japanese people and monthly salary, right? Let's write. Okay. The average salary of a Japanese, right? Japanese individual rose significantly over period from around, right? So I have to mention around. Whenever you don't see exactly where the line hits, you must mention around or roughly around 30 yen. 30 yen. So 30 yen in when. So I'm saying yen. Okay, it should be 1 yen. In 1953, 1953 to 180, okay, to a staggering means that's crazy number, to 180 in, no, by 1973. 1973. If I leave it like that, that's around band 7 sentence, because I just said staggering and significant, rose significantly. But I can highlight it even more because this is crazy and I don't have to mention mid periods. So if you go from 30 to 180, you are noting basically, 6 times higher, but I cannot write 6 times higher. So I can say, noting a six-fold rise. Now, that makes it a bit better, right? Noting a six-fold rise. So the salaries increased 6 times. That's crazy. Let's write one more sentence, okay? And that's enough for blue, actually. You don't have to mention that much. You just mentioned the most important part. Let's write for this one. So here, what's even happening here? Let's say food was the highest and experienced growth, right? That's what we wrote for overview, but that's what we need to write, right? Mm. Uh, okay, let's write that food part, right? And this is last sentence I'm going to show. Uh, okay, by far the okay. 18, 20-year olds spend most of their money, most of their money on food, uh, on food, um, with a slight increase. No. Mm, which also rose from roughly how many? 35, 30, 37 million? 37 million to just under 5 million. Hmm. Then this is not really interesting sentence, but I can add comparison, right? Uh, by contrast, the by contrast, almost half of that amount was allocated on clothing, at 20 million, which remained unchanged over the period. So yeah, there you go. The half of that amount was spent on clothes, which was the same in both years. This is an amazing comparison. So although I may not have comparisons in one sentence or highlights, I can do them in a couple of sentences. And this is almost an entire paragraph basically for these two. I don't have to mention anything else. I might say this became the second, this became the least important, but it's our lesson for paragraphing. But this sentence looks perfect to me. I have category, I have highlights, I have comparisons, and most importantly, I have given the data. And I think that's enough for today. And make sure you follow these rules and make sure you check your previous reports by this framework. Do I have years? Do I have category? Do I have comparison, highlight? And then you can improve it later.